Lavinia lost her boyfriend to a mysterious crime.
How was he killed?
He was shot up.
And now she wants to know what really happened.
He says something about you already know how he died. You don't know for sure, but you know.
Next, Jenny Jones, will they find the answers they're looking for?
Your grandmother comes in and she talks about the abuse. This was a big secret.
An unbelievable psychic hour.
He heard what you said to him at the funeral, and he wants you to know he loves you.
Next, Jenny Jones.
Have you ever wondered what a psychic would tell you about your future? Have you ever wanted to contact the spirit of a loved one who passed away? Well, a few months ago, we taped an amazing show with psychic medium Tana and psychic Judy Hoffman. Take a look.
I put my hand here. Who was shot? Okay? Because I'm putting my hand here and I feel a bullet come through me. There was more than one person involved in the shooting. Okay? Who died of cancer or heart attack?
My mother died of cancer and my father died of a heart attack.
Okay, because your dad stands here with you. And there's someone here with him with cancer, so this must be your mother, and someone with a heart attack. Who took their teeth out and used to clash their teeth together, make kind of a funny face, would take their dentures out?
My grandfather.
Okay, and he would clack his teeth together and kind of make these very funny faces with his lips. He stands here with us also.
A very special book that was passed by his mom. There's a photograph that he wants you to see, and it has also possibly to do with the letter R.
Mother's name is Ruth.
It's her book. It's somewhere in your home, and it has a sepia-colored, one of those old black and white photographs that's going to give you information that he really was here today.
I just wanted to know if I'm thinking about transferring schools, and I wanted to know if I should, if I'd be happier at another place.
Depends on the guy.
Is that the reason?
She did not know this was coming. It happened unexpectedly. This was somebody that she knew, okay? And there was like a relationship or something romantic, because why she wasn't prepared is because she didn't expect this person to do this to her.
This is really amazing because I know your story, and this is exactly what happened to her.
Today we bring you part 2 of that show with some brand new, never-before-seen stories of people looking to contact lost loved ones. Some guests find out details of what lies in their futures.
Yes, Judy?
I'm feeling on this guy over here that big stuff in the music industry for you at some point.
What? This guy?
Yeah. I think you're going to be in New York within the next couple of months signing a major contract. We should have lunch.
And now to close our show, the future star, according to Judy, here's Jay Storm, everybody.
Yo, I'm a menace when I rock the microphone. Accident prone, chillin', kicking the freestyle with Jenny Jones. I'm in the zone, controlling Chicago like Al Capone. I leave you shaking and wider than Macaulay Culkin and Home Alone. Philosophical minds with the questions and answers. Leave girls' booty shaking harder than Soul Train dance. It doesn't matter. When rappers talk about Rolex and Benz, I talk about why my time makes the work. I ain't having no wins. You know I'm going to be famous, but it's hard to stay calm when the only group of y'all have is my own mom.
Well, in this first story, a woman named Ganita lost her daughter in a devastating car accident 2 years ago. Ganita and her sister, Barb, wanted to contact the spirit of Ganita's daughter. They were searching for answers to very painful questions. Watch as they not only make contact with Ganita's daughter, but they also unexpectedly make contact with Barb's father, too.
Let me introduce Ganita and her Aunt Barb. They are looking for Tana's help. They lost someone close to them very suddenly about 2 years ago, and there is still one very painful question attached to this person's death.
Hi there, how are you? Good to meet you. Glad you're here today. Are you ready to get started? Good, nice to meet you too. I want to tell you first when you came in and what I was talking about. You've got what we call a joy guide. Joy guides are little children who have died. You wouldn't know them, but they stand right here beside you. And when a joy guide comes in, it tells me that the person's been going through a lot of depression or a lot of sadness in their life. Do you understand this? And because he comes here and he says, you've been sad, you've been down, this has been going on for a while. And he's coming here to tell you to cheer up, okay? First thing I want to say, though, as you're standing here talking, there's a woman that comes in, first of all, and she places her hand on you, right here behind you, okay? And this feels like it could be either a mother or a grandmother vibration, but she feels, okay, she says grandmother to me. You've got a grandmother who's in spirit, because she touches in, she says grandma, and she puts her hands here on you, okay? First thing, she had a little nickname for you, and I can't make out what this is. like little angel or little something, but she's got a nickname that she's talking about with you or calling you. Maybe it's just a name that she uses. But what she wants me to tell you is, she says something about when you were a little girl. Can I ask you a question? And I don't mean to be personal or in any way try to embarrass you, okay? Where was the abuse when you were a child?
My uncle.
Okay, because your grandmother comes in and she talks about the abuse. This was a big secret. This was something that you've held in for a long, long time. Either you told someone and they didn't believe you, or you didn't tell anybody, or you didn't tell many people.
Didn't tell me.
But your grandmother somehow feels responsible or sad about this. Was this her son? Okay. Why does she? It was her stepson? Yeah, because there was a connection here on her side that she feels bad or responsible about that. And she says to tell you, you've got to heal. It's time to let it go because you've been carrying this with you for a long, long time. Who's the man that stands here behind you? There's a guy that comes here and he stands right behind you. Are you two related?
My aunt.
You're her aunt? There's a male person that stands here. Where's the complications, chest or stomach area?
Grandpa had a massive heart attack. My father-in-law.
Yeah, but something in the stomach, too. There was something with the stomach because he
My
touches
father
both.
just died of cancer. And
In the stomach? Okay, because there's someone with something stomach and someone chest, or they're going like this. Father and grandfather, father and son?
no, it was my dad on my side that just passed away that way.
Okay,
But her grandfather had a massive heart attack.
okay. They're both here with you. Your dad comes in, and one of the things that he's wanting... What happened between you and your dad between 16 and 17 years old?
We never had anything to do with each other.
Yeah,
When I got old enough to make my choice,
okay,
my choice was to stay away from him.
okay. He's sorry. He says that he's sorry, and he asks for forgiveness. This is not a father that was probably the dream father or the kind of father you would have hoped for. Where are the drugs or the alcohol?
He drank all the
Okay, because he shows me something that he was doing. It was because of his drinking that he wasn't really able to be a father. What I find when we die is we kind of have an opening or an awareness where we see all of the things that we've done, and we kind of have or want forgiveness for them. And he's coming in today for forgiveness with you. That's one of the things that he wants me to tell you. Who was it who used to write prose or poetry? And there was something in middle school or high school that you wrote about somebody. Do you understand this? Because he's referencing, someone here is referencing about this prose or this poem and the person you wrote about.
Who was it, Ganita? Who was it?
It's okay.
Was it your daughter? Your
daughter.
daughter?
I'm sorry. It was her daughter that she wrote about. There's someone.
She wrote to her. Her daughter wrote to her a poem.
There's a poem. He's talking about the poem, and he says to hold that dear to your heart. To hold that dear to your heart. That's all that's really coming in right now, and I want to tell you thank you, and I hope that you'll work on that and help to release that more.
You feel you don't have any feeling about her daughter at all? That was the main person she was...
Yeah, there's when a joy guide comes in like that, or it's a child. How long's she been gone? What's 2 or 3? 2 years? Okay.
Tell us what happened, and that because you're still... it's not a matter of about telling the story. If we tell the story, maybe they'll get some kind of a feeling from it. Your daughter was killed 2 years ago in a van accident. She was in Mexico, right? There were several people in the van. 6 people in the van. The van rolled over, blew a tire rollover, and she wasn't killed right away. She was taken to a hospital in Mexico, and she died 3 hours later. Barb, you were wanting to know who was driving the van, right?
Who was driving? There was 7 in the van, 6 cars.
And you don't know who was driving.
I'm getting the letters M. Did you get the M? M, R, and possibly an S.
Could that be anybody?
Nobody who you're aware of from there, of the first letter of the first or last name?
What is it again?
I believe it's an M.
But what I see happening a lot like this is that it's normal for children when they pass to protect us, and it's almost like there's still some things you need to find closure with your daughter before she'll come through, because she wants to protect you. It's like she doesn't know if you can handle this or not. What I would encourage you to do is to go home and to let her know that she doesn't need to protect you, that it's okay to come through, that you can handle it. because she's kind of protective over you. Do you know this? Okay, she's protective. And when you do that, then you should come back and talk with me. But first, you have to let your daughter know. Okay?
When we come back, Tana talks to more guests who want to make contact with relatives who passed away. And later, we meet a paranormal investigator as she looks into 2 different reported hauntings.
When Tana was talking to me about the poem that was written, it was my daughter writing poems, and she always wrote them to me.
Hey, when Tana spoke about the older lady and the abuse, she was right on. You know, it was right on everything there. And then as he went on, Tana went on, and then they saw another figure behind me, which was my natural father, and I never had really much to do with him for like 30 years. And he just passed away end of October, and I did go by his bedside last week that he was alive. But he came back to say he was sorry for everything that he did.
Clip, a woman named Lavinia had questions about the death of her boyfriend 3 years ago. She even claimed that she had a premonition that his death was going to take place. Take a look.
Hi, Lavinia. How are you? Good. First thing I want to tell you, you're very psychic. So that's why you probably have had premonitions about other things than just besides the death of your boyfriend, okay? I wish I had known, but that's okay, about being a boyfriend or a male behind you. But there's someone here there's someone that touches in, though, and I don't know what this is. There's a woman that comes in with a male. So he's up here with somebody else. It's either his grandmother, mother, sister, but he's up here with somebody. Do you know much about his family? No. Okay, so I might give you things that you might need to take with you to verify. But there's an older female up here that was here with him when he crossed over. Yeah. When he passed to the other side, she was there to greet him. They had a very close relationship when she was living. So you do know about this. Okay. He says he's here. He doesn't call her grandma. He's another name for her, mama or something. But he says that he's here with her and that she was here to help him over to the other side.
Are you seeing a woman, Tana?
Yeah, there's a woman here that came in first. And then was standing here. There was a male that came in behind him. So this was him because he's talking about a grandmother, and there was someone that he was close to. And it's not uncommon when we pass for loved ones to be there to help us over, to greet us on the other side. Familiar faces, if you may. And one of the things that he's coming in with about, he tells me that you have some ideas about what happened. You're just not sure, okay? And he also, what I'm hearing, and I'm not sure this is my guide or this is him. I'm just going to give you what I'm being given and let you interpret it or help me with it, okay? One of the things he's telling me is he says something about you already know how he died. You don't know for sure, but you know, okay? You know. There's a story and then there's a story.
How much do you know, Lavinia? What do you know? You had a premonition.
Because was there an autopsy done?
Yeah.
Okay. But does someone question if it was accurate?
His mother did.
Yeah, it wasn't accurate because he talks about there was an autopsy done, but that someone was talking about it maybe wasn't accurate. It was not accurate.
How was he killed?
He was shot up.
Where was he? He left you to go someplace, right? That's when you had your premonition?
Yeah, he left me to go to the telephone.
He was murdered. This was a murder. Who did he owe money to? I don't want you to say a name, but there's a connection here with some money. This connection here with some debt or something owed. You know about this, don't you? There was something, this was in connection to a debt or something that was owed.
Well, a man was charged with this crime, though, right? And he served time.
Yes, it was 2 guys that was charged with this crime.
Do you believe these are the guys that did the shooting?
I know these the guys who did the shooting, but it was somebody that set it up.
Yep, it's someone with the money. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, it was the money. That was the person behind this whole situation. That's why I'm saying there's more. There's a story, and then there's the story. And he just wants you to let it go. He says it's better and safer to let it go. He's gone, he's around you, but he just says let it go.
Can you do that with me?
Because I feel like there were some shady people that he had been involved with in his life. He not that he wasn't a good person, but he didn't always make the best friends.
Right.
It's an important message if he's telling you for your safety, it's probably best to not ask
Yeah, he's saying
questions.
just to let it go. You know,
because you can't bring him back, so it may be better for you to not ask any more questions.
But I'll tell you, keep talking to him. The answers to this are never ever really going to be found out because the police have dropped it. Do you understand? He's telling me the police it's almost like they didn't even seem to have a big interest in this. Like they didn't, do you understand? It was like you couldn't believe how it was a murder and how they treated it with such casualness. Do you understand that?
So they dropped it quick?
They dropped it very quickly.
So they put the guys that did the shooting in jail, but the person responsible hasn't paid.
We don't know who it is.
The people that did the shooting, they're the ones, but there was a connection here with the money. Okay, and that's where it all started. He had some debts he owed. Okay?
Thank you very much, Tana.
For the last 20 years, this next guest, Pam, has been blaming herself for the unexpected death of her father. She had argued with her dad days before he died and regretted the things that she said. We watched in disbelief as the spirit of her father seemed to come through psychic medium Tana Hoy.
Hi, Pam. How are you? Good to meet you. First thing I want you to do is I just want you to relax. Great. My guides are kind of talking to me right now. When my guides talk to me, it's like someone stands behind me and whispers in my ear, okay? And the first thing that before we start, they're wanting me to assure you that you had nothing to do with this, okay? That's the first thing that they're wanting me to tell you. And something that they're talking to me about, and I feel like before anyone's going to come through your dad, there's a couple things I need to explain to you. And the first thing I want to tell you, were you in the room at the time of this passing? You were not there?
Well, I was in the house when he actually died, yes.
Okay, because I'm being shown like there was someone administering or trying to administer something to him?
Paramedics.
Yeah, there's someone trying to do that couldn't bring him back or couldn't revive him because he shows me they're trying to administer or do something and they couldn't bring him back, and it's almost like you might have been in the house and felt like that you should have been there or could have done something different, or by not being in the room that you caused this. Do you understand? Or could have prevented it, maybe is a better word. There's nothing that you could have done to stop this or to prevent this. What were the words between you two? Because he talks about the words, the disagreement or the words or something between you two.
We had an argument the day before he died.
And it was not your argument that pushed him over. Because
The next day, what happened the next day after the argument?
Well, after we got into the argument, and the next day he came back to where my mother and I was living, and went upstairs in my bedroom and shot himself in the chest with a .357 Magnum.
It was not your fault. See, he talks to me about, that's what I'm feeling here. It's almost like the blame with you comes from you're wondering if this argument had something to do with triggering this off. You understand?
Yep.
And that's what the guilt's been that he's telling me. Or my guide, someone's telling me. I don't see him. I'm just hearing someone talk to me. And he says, your argument had nothing to do with it. Your father had been going through a lot of depression before this, is what I'm hearing, okay? And that was apparent. This wasn't somebody that was just happy all the time and all of a sudden went and took his life. I'm being told that he had a lot of emotional problems that were very apparent before this. Was he manic depressive, or what are the mood swings? Who had the mood swings?
I don't know.
There's someone with some mood swings.
I think he was alcoholic, wasn't he?
He was alcoholic.
Okay, because there's a lot of mood swings with this gentleman, up and down and up and down. His alcoholism was a way to try to deal with his depression. He drank because he was depressed. No one ever did anything. Your argument, he just wants me to tell you, your argument didn't push him over.
He's been carrying this for 20 years. Did you say
That's
something? Did you say something that you thought? What was it you said to him that you thought might have sent him to do this?
I told him that, he had came to my house and he wanted to borrow some money, and I told him that I'd give him the money, but if he drank on it, I'd never speak to him again. And
he heard what you said to him at the funeral? He said he heard you. And he wants you to know he loves you. That's what he wants me to leave you with.
What did you say to him at the funeral, Pam?
I loved him, and I didn't mean what I said.
He forgives you. There's nothing here to hold your guilt with anymore. It's just now going to be a process of finding closure. And I hope that's helped you. Good.
Well, next up, we meet a paranormal investigator who documented her supernatural findings on videotape in 2 haunted locations. But first, hear what a few of our guests had to say after the show about their experiences on stage.
When Tana was talking about the dad that was old, I knew about that because I've been with him for a long time. I know the things he was doing, but I didn't think that was the reason that he was murdered over the money. But I knew about the dad. He hit it on a spot. When I came here, I didn't come here about asking him about the money situation, but that was something that was on my mind for a long time. And Tana hit that on the money too, because how could he have known that I was thinking that all these years? It's been 3 years.
In addition to channeling spirits, we also looked into hauntings and went on the road with a paranormal investigator named Jane Doherty. Watch this.
Hey, it's Valerie here. We're in Point Pleasant, New Jersey at the Westside Tavern. Now, I'm here with Jane Doherty, who is a psychic and paranormal investigator. And we've been told that in this tavern there's a lot of activity going on, so we're going to go check it out. Okay, so we're upstairs now where most of the activity is said to be going on. So now, Jane, what are we looking for when we come here?
Okay, what I'm going to be doing is actually walking through each room, trying to determine where I'm feeling the spirit energy. So there's definitely spirit energy in this area, as I can tell. What I feel is I already feel a sense that this was at one time a brothel. What I feel is the man is running in and out of the rooms and he is chasing a woman. Obviously, this woman does not want to do what he wants her to do. So I'm already sensing that there probably was a rape here.
Because we were up here earlier today. Now tell me what really went on.
The indications that we got was that there's an 18-year-old girl that hides in this closet. And she actually hides from her father, who murdered her years ago and then took his own life. And right now we feel that he is chasing her around a restaurant looking for her, but she hides in this closet.
It's like she's reliving what happened to her, so she's running from him constantly. She's reliving the last thing that happened to her before she died. I get a real, squeamish kind of feeling, and I feel that you've had, there may be more than one. I feel that this is where bodies are buried beyond this, into this crawl space into here.
We have a fellow that works in the kitchen that was down here by these cardboard boxes here, and he actually pointed to that crawl space over there, and he noticed that he felt that there was something in there.
Well, whether you're a skeptic or a believer, it's obvious that there is something going on at the Westside Tavern in New Jersey. We're here in a haunted house in Carolina. We're going to be taking you upstairs to a bedroom where there's levitations and shakings of the bed and just some really kind of creepy stuff. So let's go see.
I'm reacting right over in this area here, telling me it's a girl. To me, this is somebody that's attached to the house, someone who has lived here before.
Sometimes I'm sitting down watching TV and I hear like a little girl crying. I woke up and like one night she was like sitting down on the ground. I seen like a shadow. And I mean, every time I see her, she's like crying.
I do feel almost as though there is a battle spirit-wise here. This man who belongs to the house, but I also feel very strongly that you also have what I would say would be an Indian spirit here.
Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like breathing on my face, and sometimes I feel like footprints on the bed.
One of the things that I had just spoken to the owner about is the experience that she's had here in the bedroom. He said she was actually levitated about 7 inches off the bed. To me, I would say it was probably the Indian spirit lifting her off the bed because of male spirits going into the bed. This spirit is definitely watching you, and I don't know if you can feel what's just happened. There's a change in energy in the room. There's a coldness right now coming very much around me, and my stomach is out.
I'm feeling like a very cold presence right here. That it is coming. Oh, it's like I've got goosebumps on my body.
Okay.
Because it feels like it's
I got
and
real.
you out.
Okay. Spirits, ghosts, are they real? There's definitely something going on here, and I had a hair-raising experience to prove it. I don't know. Back to you, Jenny.
Well, coming up, how would you react if your telephone repeatedly dialed the same number completely on its own? Next up, a woman who said her house was haunted and thinks it may have to do with the cemetery next door. This next woman named Beth moved into her house just last year, and since then, strange things started happening. The phone in her daughter's room repeatedly dials the same number by itself. The circuit breakers go off and on, and her daughter got an unexplained 5-inch scratch on her leg. Take a look.
Well, Beth, is this an old house?
No.
It's not an old house. The phone thing, I mean, how many times did it ring over and it's like by itself? Did that completely scare you?
Yes, it did. The first day it happened, the first night it happened, I heard it over and over about 5-6 times, but I just went back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first incident we had that happened that was anything abnormal.
This is when you first moved in? Was the phone even hooked up yet?
We were in the process of switching phone companies, so we didn't have any phone service at this time.
Oh.
And I heard it a second night about a week later, but it was really loud. I could hear the little tone on the buttons being pushed. And I told my husband about it, and he just kind of, you know, just didn't think too much of it. And then he heard it about a few days later.
And you hear footsteps?
Yes, I heard footsteps walking up to my bedroom on the carpet. And the only people at home were myself and my 20-month-old daughter.
Where do you live? I mean, what's around your house?
The only thing I know of that could be causing this would be a cemetery that's just a street over.
This is
like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is somebody, one of the things I want to do, it's like this house has either been buried on top of a grave that's been moved. Were there graves moved for this housing development?
Not that I know of.
They do that. That's done sometimes now with land. People take graves and they move them. This has been buried either on or around his grave, or his grave's been moved. This guy doesn't want you there. It's like he's trying to scare you, intimidate you, get you out of the house. What I want to say about spirit, or what we call ghosts, they're not any more enlightened. We're no more enlightened when we're living. When we pass, we don't get sudden enlightenment. So however we are in person, we're going to continue to have that same personality or energy when we pass. And he's trying to intimidate you. Was there a time, though, that you guys thought it was kind of neat and just didn't pay any attention? Because what I see happening a lot of times when it escalates like this, starts out neat, kind of fun, oh, we've got a ghost in the house, and then it starts escalating and escalating and escalating. And I always tell people, if you ever sense or feel it, because they draw off of our energy, they draw off of our desire. So there's a part of you that's still got it connected there. And even though you may not like it, the scariness might be a little exciting for someone in the house. So you need to find an uninvolved person in this to come in to help get rid of it, either using smudge sticks or someone. I recommend smudge sticks to remove it, because I guarantee you it will escalate.
Smudge sticks?
Yeah, they're herbs or sage that have been tied together. Native Americans
Oh,
use
you're
them
not
a lot.
hitting anything?
No, they're good for purifying. I'm just telling her how to get rid of it. And tell it to leave in a commanding voice. You're not welcome here.
There's something buried under this house aside from the burial ground. I get the name David, somehow associated with who this is. Now, who's David?
My husband.
Okay. Maybe David is the leaping off point. We're in the right spot. It's around either something your husband has hidden, and the ghost is acting as his agent, or on the other hand, I just pick up the name David, and I had the idea, Tana, that the ghost actually had an association to the neighborhood, lived there instead of being buried under there, and there was something he buried under the house that is it's incriminating in some way.
We have some home video, actually. Let me show you and see if you get any kind of a feeling from this video. Watch.
This could be the reason that we're experiencing paranormal activity in my home, and I'll show you how close the houses are to the cemetery. Just a couple nights ago, I woke up in the night, as usual, and I heard movement in the kitchen. I don't know what it was, but it sounded like a bag or something moving. Right here, in the hallway, is where I heard the footsteps when my daughter and I were alone one morning. And this is the breaker box. Where only one breaker kept going off. It kept knocking the power out in the kitchen, bathroom, and here in the garage. My husband also heard voices here in the hallway during the day one time when I was at work, and only he and the baby were at home, alone.
Wow, you pick up anything from the tape?
I'm concerned that you're going to get a pet, and there's danger around the pet.
We've been thinking about getting a puppy.
I think you need to be extra cautious, and you need to have someone come into this home, and as Tana suggested, either have it's a form of an exorcism or the staging, which is done with a smudge stick, in order to begin to do a clearing. This is a very stubborn ghost, and he's interested in deriving something from your husband.
This started the same month I got pregnant. Does that have anything to do with that?
I think you became more aware of it, that this has been around for a while. I get the idea that the person who passed recently from the 70s up till present, and was not a nice character.
We recently contacted Beth, and they are still living in the same house. She says they've had one paranormal occurrence since the show taping. In that incident, her husband was violently shaken awake from his sleep, but there was no one else in the room. Now, when we come back, psychic medium Tana Hoy and psychic Judy Hoffman answer questions from our audience. The audience could have spent hours that day talking with Tana Hoy and Judy Hoffman. Here's a look at what they predicted for some audience members.
I had a brother about 6 years ago, committed suicide, just shot himself. He had had a baby. He seemed like he was real happy. Can you get anything from that? Or
This was something related to the marriage was kind of turbulent. Do you know about this?
They always acted like they were
Yeah,
happy.
but the image that they portrayed and what was really going on was different. I don't mean that the marriage caused him to commit suicide, because suicide's about something totally different. But there was a lot of turmoil in this marriage that wasn't being seen. And that's part of why he just finally gave up. Doesn't mean that the marriage is a problem, but it just added more to his stress.
I'm sorry, but, you know, maybe it helps you to at least let it go.
Yeah, it does help.
Steve? Where is Steve with the... You're looking for someone who's missing? Can you tell us what the relationship is that you're looking for?
A friend of mine was at a bar with his wife and some other friends of ours. I wasn't there at the time. And he left the bar early, and his wife was going to go home with her friends. And he drove down the road probably 3 or 4 miles, and he came to a T intersection. And he hit a tree. He wasn't going very fast. The tree was about this big around. There was like a spider web break in the windshield. And he just disappeared. There's no footprints, no tracks, nothing.
This person's alive. I feel he's around this region. He's somewhere in the Midwest. He could be as far north as Canada. And he had a second life, was my first suspicion, that there was another woman, or he had a whole secret other business that he was carrying on with, and he may have had to flee the country. I'm getting that he's north of here.
He planned this. He planned it. Something in the marriage wasn't going right. He planned this.
Was he
Because a
having
little
an
tree
affair
like
that you
that
know
didn't
of?
cause that.
Oh, not that I know.
Yeah, he planned it. It was planned. There was another woman.
Because they had helicopters and dogs looking for him, and nobody could find him.
Because he had another car there to help him get away.
I think the other woman may have been there to help him get away,
Yeah.
and there's some connection in Michigan or Canada. Where did this occur?
In Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Canada.
over the border of Minnesota.
Easy to get up into Canada from
He
there.
fled to Canada first. I don't believe he's still there. But that's the starting point, and he's with this, the whole other secret life is being carried out. I believe he's still alive.
And he planned it for a long time. He has another identity.
Why were you still asking about him now? It's been...
Oh, he's just been a real good friend of everybody for a long time, and we all miss him a lot.
Yeah.
There's a first letter S involved. Maybe the woman, I get the name Sherry. Who's Sherry?
Don't know.
Well, it could have been the girlfriend that you didn't know, right? If he
Yeah.
was having this affair.
Or
Well-
Sharon? No one who was connected to your lives in the past.
Nothing rings a bell.
There is somebody who knew about the plan, I feel.
We
And
have
I
a
get
lot
the
of
letter.
S name. I'm getting an S name
I'm getting
too.
an S or a C, perhaps. The person one person who still carries the secret, and it may have been a family member of his that he entrusted the secret to.
He's alive, at least.
Well, that's real good.
This lady here, Angie, is looking to contact your best friend who was killed a couple of years ago. Just stand up and see if there's anything at all, Tana, that you feel from her.
First thing I want to tell, was this car related?
Yeah.
Related in the car? Okay,
Yeah.
and this is female?
No, my best friend that passed on is male.
What's the female connection with him?
He had a female in the vehicle with him.
That was not killed?
Correct.
Okay. He doesn't want her to feel guilty because she feels in some ways like, why was it him and not me?
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're all feeling that way.
Yeah, he wants her to say no. It's almost like it was his time to go in kind of an odd sort of way. Is there a Michael name with him, or Mike, or Mark, or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is this?
This is his brother that died 10 years almost to the day before he did.
He's here with him. He says he was here to greet me when I came over. Tell Mom and Dad we're okay. Tell Mom and Dad we're okay. Please pass that message to his parents.
I most certainly will.
Okay.
I most certainly will.
Okay. No one was responsible for this. Okay.
So it was purely...
It was just...
Who was driving the car?
My best friend, Chris.
Yeah.
He was driving his... I'm not sure if it was his girlfriend, but...
Well, she survived. Does she remember anything?
She doesn't remember anything
tell her not to
concerning
feel
the
guilty.
accident.
Do you think anything was going on in the car? Did you have any questions about how things happened?
In the accident report, there were witnesses that were driving behind the truck.
Yeah.
And that she suddenly turned. I don't know why.
There was drugs involved here somewhere. I don't know if they found that in the autopsy or somewhere. Either drugs or alcohol.
My best friend did not drink or do drugs.
There was someone or something with drugs or smoking or something in the car.
Truck?
Yeah, maybe they turned to say put out the cigarette or something.
Okay.
But there was something here involved. Okay? But know that he's at peace. Just know he's at peace.
I just want to know that does he know that we all love him?
Absolutely.
And we miss him so much.
And he can hear you. Just tell him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Psychic Judy Hoffman has made several follow-up appearances on our show with some amazing results. A look back at her predictions on relationships and careers when we come back. Well, Judy Hoffman returned to give us her psychic insight on some unusual stories, including the future for some cheating mates. A few guests were even busted when Judy revealed what she did. Watch this.
I had a feeling throughout that your boyfriend's name is John, correct? That there's an older woman, and that's really a suspect that you haven't even found out about yet.
An older woman?
An older woman, at least older than she is, and possibly even older than you. I get the letter S, that there's a female first letter S.
First letter S.
S.
Amanda, do you know who that is?
Very sure about knows Sarah.
Amanda?
Nothing about knows Sarah.
Amanda knows somebody. Who? Could you give us a first name?
No.
You said
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say
But
it.
there is a woman with an S.
There is a woman with an S.
All right.
Robert and John, I was watching from backstage the interaction. First of all, I feel that there's a child, that you guys are already somewhat committed. Are you pregnant?
She's pregnant?
I thought she was going to get pregnant, but if there's anyone on the stage, any of the couples on the stage, soulmate match, it's you guys. John, I think you have to really let go of your mom, not other women. She's the woman who's in the way of this relationship.
She's agreeing.
Right?
Are you?
And you got him by the, really? Really?
And this is the best match on the stage. I predict they're going to stay together. Antoine has, again, multiple females. I think he can find himself out 5-6 nights a week. There's a financial problem here where, Willa, you need to stop being financially responsible for him. And
we didn't talk about that.
I think if you rescind paying for things that he's caused you and put you in debt, it might straighten him out a little bit. There are plenty of women around him. Older women find him very attractive. I have an idea there's at least one older woman you're connected to now who's been a secret for a long time.
Antoine, you know it. You know it, too. Do you have any feeling at all for Dasha and Andy here that...
I am so glad you asked me about these. I think they're going to get married.
Whoa.
When I was... That's a huge, huge leap for me and a big risk, because normally I say, well, it's going to take until this date, and we're going to have to see how this one feels and the other one feels. As long as you can get past your mom, about him. I think it could work out real well.
Miss Led, who was rapping for this guy, Will, what do you any feelings about the relationship, first of all?
Not going to happen. Miss Led is going to move on. She'll be done with this one 6 minutes after the show is over. And I don't think she's disappointed. She's very talented. This is a hot number. I get the letter D for a guy coming into your life, or maybe somebody from your past who's going to come back. Is there a D?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there is.
I thought
that's the ex-boyfriend.
Oh, an ex. You like that?
If you'd like to contact Tana Hoyer or Judy Hoffman, you can go to our website at jennyjones.com. And while you're there, let us know about any supernatural events that have occurred in your life. Thanks for watching.